to solve country's problems. So may I have, because I know that most of you who are seated here in this hall this morning, you are all the ones who are actually working to make this possible. When we say artificial intelligence for all, AI for all, which is the motto of India, the mantra which we introduced in G20, then you all are the people who are working to make it possible. So I would request you all to let's have a big round of applause for each one of you. I know tech people are more focused on the desk jobs, but still the physicality is very, very important. The fitness is very important. So I think I would request you all to have a louder applause this morning for each one of you. Thank you. Now, this is also one opportunity where we all can connect with each other. We all can also take a look at the tech showcase, which we've exhibited outside. Can you raise your hands and let me know who all have actually visited these stalls? I can hardly see any hands. Thank you. Thank you. So here then I would request you all to, since you're here, to know how artificial intelligence is going to change the face of India or help us achieve the goals of Viksit Bharat. मैं आप सबसे अनुरोध करूंगी कि आप सब लोग जब यहाँ से फारिग हो जाएंगे तो उसके बाद बाहर जरूर जाइएगा और जो 8 शोकेसेस लगे हुए हैं टेक शोकेस उन्हें जरूर देखिएगा क्योंकि उनमें से हर एक आने वाले भविष्य का एक संकेत देता नजर आ रहा है क्योंकि वो सब चाहे हम शिक्षा की बात करें स्वास्थ्य की बात करें या कृषि की बात करें इन विभिन्न क्षेत्रों में कैसे हम एआई का प्रयोग कर सामान्य जन का जीवन बेहतर बना सकते हैं इसी का एक उदाहरण प्रस्तुत कर रहे हैं Just imagine that years ago, perhaps we couldn't have thought of using AI to solve such problems, but it is the young, bright minds of our very own country who've come forward as startups, and they took the plunge into this field, and they came forward to solve the problems which the common man of India faces. Be it the women when you detect breast cancers in a totally non-invasive manner, be it the agriculture or the other areas. These are just few examples who are showcasing how startups are, youngsters of our country are joining themselves, connecting themselves with the startups and trying to change the face of India. So I think we all need to take a look at these tech showcases to understand exactly, because I think these are the stories which motivate each and every one, and which also enhance our belief in ourselves that yes, we can do it. And when Honorable Prime Minister says that AI is writing the code for 21st century, this is a big dialogue, but it has a deep meaning. And through their actions, these startups are actually showcasing how this is changing, bringing about a change on the ground. So I hope that if somebody asks once again after about 3-4 hours, how many of you have actually visited these stalls? Everybody would raise their hands. Of course, we won't be here by that time. So Honorable Minister, NITI Minister has already arrived at the venue. We are waiting for the Finance Minister's arrival, after which we would take the program forward. One last gentle reminder, kindly check your mobile phones. I hope it's on silent mode. Could you just take it out once again from your pocket, my gentle request? And just check if you actually put it on silent mode. Thank you. Since Honorable Minister of IT and Electronics is already here at the venue and he is taking a look at the tech showcases, I think I have time to take you through these showcases, out of which one is पढ़ाई with AI. और नाम से ही जैसा पता चल रहा है कि AI के माध्यम से पढ़ाई कैसे की जाए, लेकिन यहाँ पे पढ़ाई के उस पहलू की बात हो रही है जो हम सबको, आप लोगों को शायद नहीं, मुझे बहुत मुश्किल लगता रहा, वो है मैथमेटिक्स. सरकारी स्कूलों में कैसे एआई के यूज से मैथ्स को लेकर बच्चों की समस्याओं का हल किया जा सकता है, इसी का एक उदाहरण प्रस्तुत करता है ये स्टार्टअप पढ़ाई विद एआई। एंड जस्ट इमेजिन 6 हफ्तों में ही ये 12,000 स्कूल के बच्चों तक पहुंच पाए और 300 से अधिक सरकारी स्कूलों में ये पहुंचे हैं और इतने ही वक्त में सिर्फ 6 हफ्तों में ही जो परिणाम आए वो बहुत ही एनकरेजिंग थे। So this also shows that how we can use technology to fill the educational gaps in our system. Then there is Chennai-based Agnikul Cosmos. ये नाम आपने बहुत अच्छे से सुना होगा क्योंकि जब इनका पहला सैटेलाइट, that is the country's first 3D printed satellite was launched, it made headlines. And they not only made India's first single-piece 3D printed rocket engines, but this is also the world's largest single-piece 3D printed rocket engine that was launched. और हम स्पेस टेक्नोलॉजी में लगातार आगे बढ़ने, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को आगे बढ़ाने की बात करते हैं, तो उस दिशा में इस तरह के प्रयास बहुत बड़ा अंतर ला सकते हैं। Then we also have Bengaluru-based Cloud Physician, which is AI-powered intricate network of tele-ICUs. ये हॉस्पिटल्स को दूर दराज के क्षेत्रों के साथ जोड़ते हैं और यहाँ पर भी यूएस ट्रेन डॉक्टर्स हैं जिन्होंने भारत में आकर इस चीज की पहल की, इस दिशा में कदम आगे बढ़ाया और डिजिटल हेल्थ केयर में एक बड़ा रिवोल्यूशनरी स्टेप हो सकता है इस तरह की पहल। डिजिटल पानी, आई लव दिस टाइटल, डिजिटल पानी। स्टैनफोर्ड की हमारे देश की बेटी देश में वापस आई और उन्होंने इस दिशा में काम आगे किया। मानसी जैन अपने पापा के साथ उन्होंने इंटरनेट ऑफ थिंग्स के माध्यम से वेस्ट वाटर की ट्रीटमेंट की ओर कदम बढ़ाया। एक दिन में 90 मिलियन लीटर्स ऑफ वाटर इज बीइंग treated through the sustainable water treatment facilities. Nirama is Dr. Geeta Manjunath. Just imagine, हमारे देश में इतनी महिलाएं हैं जो ब्रेस्ट कैंसर से प्रभावित होती हैं। अधिकतर को पता ही नहीं होता कि उन्हें ब्रेस्ट कैंसर है जब तक कि वो बहुत एडवांस स्टेज तक ना पहुंच जाए। और एक बहुत बड़ा जिस पहलू को लेकर महिलाएं हिचकिचाती हैं वो होता है कि इट्स अ वेरी इन्वेजिव काइंड ऑफ टेस्ट which many women try to avoid. But Geeta Manjunath, she has made a treatment which is a detection which is non-invasive. मतलब आपको सिर्फ मशीन के आगे जाके खड़ा हो जाना है, बाकी काम मशीन खुद करेगी। 1 lakh women in the rural areas have already been tested through their equipment. Now, these kind of things actually, this is one startup which can be game changer when we talk of preventive healthcare, and many more such startups may be encouraged to come forward to work in the field of preventive healthcare. We also have New Delhi startup, Gen Elect Technologies, and they are a boom for those with disabilities. हमारे दिव्यांग जन के लिए एक बहुत फायदा हो सकता है इनकी जिस तरीके की टेक्नोलॉजी वो लेकर आए हैं, क्योंकि जब आप बात करते हो स्ट्रोक्स की, स्पाइनल इंजरीज की या न्यूरोलॉजिकल कंडीशंस की, तो जो दिव्यांग जन है उन्हें अगर तकनीक के माध्यम से बेहतर मूवमेंट, मोबिलिटी में हेल्प हो सके, जीवन जीने के लिए उन्हें मदद मिल सके, तो एक बहुत बड़ा आशीर्वाद हो सकता है उनके लिए. And a startup like Gen Elect Technologies are doing exactly the same. They have made AI-powered exoskeletons, and they reduce the cost of exoskeletons by up to 40%. And of course, हम inclusion की बात करते हैं, rehabilitation की बात करते हैं, इन लक्ष्यों को हासिल करने में इस तरह की पहल बहुत फायदेमंद हो सकती है. And then you have Tech Eagle. I like this name too. Tech Eagle, a Gurugram-based startup. They are transforming the healthcare logistics. They use the drones to deliver medicines and vaccines to the hard-to-reach regions. And they've deployed, 5 lakh drones over so many states. So, कहने को लगता है कि ड्रोन के माध्यम से दवाइयां ही तो पहुंचाई जा रही हैं, इसमें क्या नया है? लेकिन जब आप स्कोप और स्केल देखते हो, जब आप हालात देखते हो, जमीनी हालात देखते हो, तब आप महसूस करते हो कि एक आम जन के जीवन में जिस वक्त सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत होती है, उस वक्त इस तरह की पहल कितना बदलाव, कितना बड़ा कारक साबित हो सकती है. We also have Amandeep Pawar and Rishabh Chaudhary, who've harnessed drone-based hyperspectral imaging to revolutionize agriculture. इनकी पहल है भारत रोहन के नाम से. अब तक 50,000 किसानों को ये सशक्त कर चुके हैं. एग्रीकल्चर में ड्रोन टेक्नोलॉजी और ड्रोन के माध्यम से हाइपर स्पेक्ट्रल इमेजिंग की टेक्नोलॉजी, आपने पहले इसके बारे में सुना होगा, लेकिन जब आप किसानों तक इसको पहुंचा पाते हैं और किसान इसको वास्तविकता में प्रयोग कर एक बदलाव ला पाते हैं अपने जीवन में, जैसे हम कहते हैं सशक्त किसान बन जाते हैं, तो वो एक बदलाव की भूमिका तैयार करता नजर आता है। और इनके माध्यम से जो इनकी टेक्नोलॉजी है हाइपर स्पेक्ट्रल इमेजरी, इसके माध्यम से प्रिसीजन एग्रीकल्चर संभव हो पाती है। सही पानी, सही फर्टिलाइजर, सही तरीके से अगर कृषि की जाए तो कम प्रयास मेहनत से ही आप अधिक उत्पादकता ला सकते हैं। एंड दिस इज द मंत्रा टू फूड सिक्योरिटी एज वेल। So in that case, if we look at these startups, we do realize that they are actually bringing out a gradual change on the ground, which in future would turn out to be, we are looking at विकसित भारत। इन छोटे छोटे कदमों से, इन छोटे छोटे पहल के माध्यम से ही 2047 तक विकसित भारत की राह तैयार हो रही है। और अभी तो ये शुरुआती कदम है। जरा सोचिए, अगर हम आज के कार्यक्रम में जिस तरीके के लॉन्चेस हो रहे हैं, इस तरह की सोच के साथ आगे बढ़ते हैं और इन प्रयासों को उनके साथ जोड़ देते हैं, तो हम पाते हैं कि जो रफ्तार हमें चाहिए विकसित भारत के लिए, देश की वृद्धि में, इकोनॉमी में, वो सब हम हासिल कर सकते हैं। So we are really honored that today we are going to have amongst us the finance minister of our country as well as the MITI minister who are joining hands to make all this possible. And of course, आप सबका सहयोग तो है ही, आप सबके योगदान के बिना ही संभव भी नहीं होना था, क्योंकि हालांकि आज हमारे सभागार में बहुत ज्यादा लोग नहीं हैं, लेकिन आप सबके माध्यम से जितने लोगों को आप टच करते हैं, आपके प्रयास जिस जिसको छू पाते हैं देश में, उनके माध्यम से ही आपके प्रयास बहुत रफ्तार पकड़ते हैं। इसीलिए आई थिंक ईच एंड एवरी वन ऑफ यू हु इज विद अस इन दिस ऑडिटोरियम टुडे is kind of a message carrier for everyone, because artificial intelligence is going to pave the way for Viksit Bharat, and Honorable Prime Minister is making sure that we do it. And जिस तरीके की प्रतिबद्धता, जिस तरीके का संकल्प सरकार के साथ दिखता है, जिस तरीके की पहल, नीतिगत निर्णय नीति आयोग के द्वारा भी लिए जा रहे हैं, जिस तरीके का कार्य और जिस रफ्तार पर उसे आगे बढ़ाया जा रहा है, मात्र कुछ वर्षों में ही अब ये संभव लगने लगा है। कभी दौर था जब माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने विकसित भारत का नारा दिया तो लोगों ने सोचा ये कैसे होगा, लेकिन मात्र कुछ वर्षों में ही जिस तरीके से अलग अलग स्तर पर प्रयास हो रहे हैं, उसके बाद अब संभव लगने लगा है कि हाँ, ये हम कर पाएंगे और ये हम कर लेंगे। तो जब नेतृत्व साथ हो तो नीचे सब कुछ संभव और सुलभ हो जाता है। और इसी का एक उदाहरण है आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के क्षेत्र में जिस तरीके से हम आगे बढ़ रहे हैं। और आज का ये कार्यक्रम उसी की एक और नींव या इसी सफर में एक और पड़ाव के तौर पर देखा जाना चाहिए। Very shortly, honorable ministers will be here with us when we take the program forward. देवियर सज्जनों, माननीय वित्त मंत्री भी सभागार परिसर में पधार चुकी हैं और वे एग्जीबिशन का अवलोकन कर रही हैं। एंड This exhibition, the Tech Showcase, also shows that artificial intelligence is not just a technology for us. This is also a medium for the social change, for the social development. और जब देश का हर जन का विकास होगा, तभी तो विकसित भारत का सपना साकार होगा। और इसीलिए तकनीक के माध्यम से अपनी चुनौतियों का समाधान तलाशने के आधार के रूप में आज का ये समारोह अत्यंत महत्वपूर्ण है। माननीय वित्त मंत्री और माननीय इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड आईटी मंत्री इस वक्त टेक शोकेस का अवलोकन करते हुए। देवी और सज्जनों, हमारे समारोह के विशिष्ट अतिथिगण का सभागार में आगमन हो चुका है। आइए करतल ध्वनि से गणमान्य अतिथियों का स्वागत करें। Please welcome our distinguished guests, Honorable Union Ministers Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman and Shri Ashwini Vaishnav ji, who are gracing this occasion with their august presence. भारत का भविष्य नई तकनीक में निहित है। आधुनिक तकनीक से ईज ऑफ लिविंग के साथ आम जन के जीवन से जुड़ी समस्याओं का समाधान हो सके, माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के इस विश्वास को ही नई दिशा प्रदान कर रहा है आज का ये समारोह। May I please request our distinguished guests to please take their seats on the dais. Namaskar and good morning, everyone. Our distinguished guests, esteemed invitees, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this important event, which marks the launch of AI for Viksit Bharat Roadmap and the NITI Frontier Tech Repository. On behalf of NITI Aayog, I extend a heartfelt welcome to each one of you. It's my distinct honor and proud privilege to welcome our esteemed guests who grace the dais with their presence today. Please welcome Honorable Minister of Finance and Corporate Affairs, Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman. Honorable Minister of Electronics and Information Technology, Information and Broadcasting and Railways, Shri Ashwini Vaishnav. Vice Chairman, NITI Aayog, Shri Suman Berry. Secretary, Minister of Electronics and IT, Shri S. Krishnan. Distinguished Fellow, NITI Aayog, Ms. Devjani Ghosh. Mr. Naushir Kaka, Senior Partner, McKinsey and Company. And Shri Dhiman Parekh, Founder, The Better India. Well, he's the CEO of Better India. Thank you. Let us give a round of applause once again to our distinguished guests for honoring us with their presence today. I also extend warm welcome to our esteemed guests from the government, industry leaders, startups, and friends from the media. प्रधानमंत्री जी के शब्दों में, आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस इस सदी में मानवता के लिए कोड लिख रहा है। भारत आज केवल डिजिटल इंडिया तक सीमित नहीं है, बल्कि एआई पावर्ड इंडिया बनने की ओर तेजी से अग्रसर है। आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस, मशीन लर्निंग, क्वांटम कंप्यूटिंग, ये न्यू एज टेक्नोलॉजीज आज भारत को 2047 तक विकसित भारत बनाने की आधारशिला गढ़ रही हैं। इस दिशा में जो कदम उठाए जा रहे हैं, उन्हें गति और दिशा प्रदान कर रहा है आज का ये समारोह, जिसमें नीति फ्रंटियर टेक हब के 2 फ्लैगशिप इनिशिएटिव्स को लॉन्च किया जा रहा है। द फर्स्ट वन, द रोड मैप ऑन एआई फॉर विकसित भारत, अनलॉकिंग एक्सेलरेटेड इकोनॉमिक ग्रोथ, and the second one, NITI Frontier Tech Repository, a curated platform of proven impact-driven technology use cases that are already solving real problems across India. Commencing the program, let me now invite Ms. Devjani Ghosh, Distinguished Fellow NITI Aayog, to deliver the opening address. Please welcome Ms. Devjani Ghosh.
Honorable Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman ji, Honorable IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav ji, Mr. Suman Berry, NITI Vice Chair, Mr. Subramaniam, CEO NITI Aayog, and I would say head coach for the Frontier Tech Hub team, our guide, philosopher, mentor, Mr. Naushir Kaka, Mr. Dhiman Parekh, all distinguished guests in the room, and dear friends. You know, this is almost surreal. This is such a special day when we're all here to finally unveil the work that the NITI Frontier Tech Hub has been doing for 1 year. To have a first roadmap, AI for Viksit Bharat, which calls out how India can unlock the power of AI to accelerate economic growth, and launch the NITI Frontier Tech Repository, a very special project which uniquely showcases how people across India, from the smallest of districts to the biggest of towns, are coming together, innovators, government, they're coming together to use technology to change lives and to create a better future. And I personally could not be more thrilled that we are having today with us both Nirmala ji and Ashwini ji to bless us on this day where we are launching the NITI Frontier Tech Hub initiatives to take this forward. I could not have asked for a better start. Thank you to you, all of you. It was exactly a year back in September when a lot of you from the industry, academia, came together with NITI CEO and me to debate and discuss what should be the role of Frontier Tech Hub. What problem should it solve? And as we were debating the global landscape, the challenges, and the needs, I think one thing really stood out, which is that national power and a country's ability to accelerate economic growth, societal growth, have global influence is not just going to be decided anymore by the size of the economy, the size of the army, or the size of oil reserves. It is more and more going to be decided by technology leadership and, most importantly, control of technology. Nations that secure critical supply chains, whether in AI, semiconductor, quantum, biotech, are the nations that can set standards early and that will play a defining role in setting the course for the world. And history has shown us that spotting these trends early is half the battle won. If you can spot trends early and you invest early in building capabilities, in building the R&D that is needed to lead, you will be the leaders and the rest will follow. We were very clear that Viksit Bharat has to be a frontier tech leader. And that was precisely how the mandate of NITI Frontier Tech Hub got created. Our job, our first job, is to start by understanding what are those future mega big shifts that's going to happen in tech, and how will they impact lives, be it citizens, jobs, education, healthcare, etc. How will they drive industry transformation? How will they impact government, from national security to how governments govern with technology? And last but not the least, geopolitical dynamics, tech diplomacy, which everybody is talking about. This is the scope of NITI Frontier Tech Hub. Currently, we are working on over 20 work streams across all of these four lenses, and you will see a lot of these insights, roadmaps coming out in the next 3 months. And I think the secret sauce, or our biggest advantage, our greatest advantage, is the experts that we work with. Every work stream, every one of these 20 work streams has an expert council consisting of some of the best minds in the field, whether they're in academia, government, or industry, who come together to shape these roadmaps along with our knowledge partners. And as you can see, this is the expert council for the AI for Viksit Bharat roadmap. And we have sort of the best working with us to shape this roadmap, from Mr. N. Chandrasekharan, Anisha, Chandrajit Banerjee, Neelkant Mishra, Mukesh Bansal, Noshir Kaka, Anu, Rahul Matan, Dr. Chintan Vaishnav, and of course, NITI Aayog's Ishtiaq Ahmed. I mean, we have really some amazing minds who are coming together to shape this work. And to ensure that the work is not just recommendations on paper and action on paper, but they translate into real action on ground. We have the NITI Strategic Council that is headed by NITI CEO, and we have some amazing secretaries from across departments, including Mr. Krishnan, who are guiding us to ensure that the insights that we create become real. And these can translate into real action, real policy on ground. If I may close with just one reflection, it has been, the last 1 year has been truly humbling to see how so many brilliant minds have come together to shape this work. The generosity of their time, wisdom, passion has truly been overwhelming. And I think the one thing that brings us together is this deep shared commitment that we all have to see India become a Viksit Bharat. That vision is the North Star of NITI Frontier Tech Hub. It is what unites us, energizes us, and I think it is what brings out the best in all of us. As they say, India's biggest strength are Indians. That's the secret sauce, and that's what we at NITI Frontier Tech Hub are trying to unlock by bringing together the best minds and empowering them to create the future that we want. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Devjani Ghosh, for very insightful opening remarks, which set the perfect tone for today's program. And now it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Naushad Kaka, Senior Partner, McKinsey & Company, to present the key findings and recommendations of the roadmap on AI for Viksit Bharat, unlocking accelerated economic growth. Mr. Naushad Kaka.
Thank you. Honorable Ministers, BC NITI Aayog, CEO NITI Aayog, Devjani, and my friends on the dais, and ladies and gentlemen in the audience. It gives me great pleasure today to stand before you to present the findings of our action plan on AI for accelerated economic growth. Now, as Devjani said, while I am the orator of this plan has actually benefited from multiple individuals and institutions that has actually given us their time and their counsel. From the Reserve Bank of India to NITI Aayog, of course, to the CEOs of corporate India, both Tata and Mahindra Group, representatives of whom are in the audience, our expert council, and of course, over 300 inputs sessions that we've had along the way. Thank you. We're trying to make this action plan to be essentially built on the foundations of the good work that has already been done by several institutions and government departments. And so therefore, we go into only certain aspects that we feel are practical, achievable, specific, but yet far-reaching. I will now turn to the main findings of this report, and I'll give you a glimpse of some of the outcomes that we would like to aspire for. To say that AI is essentially the existential technology of this generation is probably not an understatement. AI, in our humble opinion, has the power to productively transform and innovate both lives and livelihoods in a way that we have not seen before in the history of this nation. It is equally a destructive force on jobs and other forms of lives and livelihoods, on individuals, families, institutions, and nations, if we are not at the forefront of this revolution. And this action plan is an attempt that India stays on the right side of that equation. So when you look at India today, these numbers, given the good work of the government, are already out of date. We're already crossing a $4 trillion economy. Give or take on our steady course, we will probably get to about $6.5–7 trillion by 2035. If we get AI right, our team humbly submits that we could add $1.5 to $1.7 trillion more to India's GDP in that time frame. $1.4 to $1.7 trillion coming from both productivity, about half a trillion in productivity, in innovation, approximately 300 to 500 billion in innovation. IT, we've actually broken out as a separate sector in itself because of the incredible impact of AI on jobs and the welfare of that sector, another 200 to 300 million. And then there's a gap which we cannot forecast, because anyone today saying that they can forecast 10 years out of this technology is better than all of us put together, right? But we think collectively this could be one of the single biggest drivers of India's economic growth in the next 10 years. And this report is not just a top-down rough estimate. We have worked to understand 850 job families across 17 sectors, broken up by 2,100 individual tasks. This is an extremely granular task. So we've gone in each of the 17 sectors, and we've actually worked with 4 of those sectors deeply: automotive, pharma, financial services, manufacturing overall, to actually say, is what we are projecting actually possible? And this is that first lever, that lever of productivity. And you can see it's broken down by various sectors that actually benefit from AI. And the light blue bar that you see in the middle is essentially the delta that we believe is directly attributable or largely attributable to the faster adoption of AI in those sectors. Let me give you an example. And this came through our consultations with the RBI. There are many, many domains where if you take a bank today, you could actually transform that bank. There are approximately 25 on this page. The single biggest opportunity in front of us is not to take each of these domains in isolation and in piecemeal fashion, but to actually look at the bank as a whole and reimagine its operations. The RBI is actually working to build an innovation sandbox to do exactly that. We feel if you actually accelerate this and you reimagine these domains, not re-engineer, reimagine these domains. Re-engineering means I deliver a 20, 30, 40% productivity and efficiency. Reimagination means I deliver a 10x impact to my customer. And you do this collectively. And one of the biggest opportunities for India, because we are sitting on a tech infrastructure in the financial services that actually is pretty good around the world, is actually to leapfrog financial institutions. And you pick any of these 25 subdomains, you can completely reimagine either that domain or the institution it's in. Equally, there is the innovation side. And you can see here that we have leveraged the McKinsey global work that says there are about 18 arenas globally that will be created in the next 10 years. These will contribute to roughly 30% of the world's incremental GDP. They are massive. India needs to be the number 1, number 2, number 3 player in at least 2 or 3 of these. And you can see we've called out 10 of these that we actually have more than a starting position. And if you just take one, I'll give you an example of an opportunity to reimagine. Take pharmaceuticals. Today, we produce 80% roughly of the world's generics. Would it be so outrageous to imagine that actually we can produce between 10, 50 of the world's most innovative drugs yet to be discovered? And because of AI and what it does, you've just dropped the cost of producing the next molecule by approximately 10 times. And you've crashed the time that it takes, roughly 10 years, to develop a next molecule by roughly 50%. Right? If you can use AI for innovation, just as much as that first chart showed you AI for productivity, you can actually capture a piece of the global share in any of these 10 domains, and probably more that are not even on this page that we could not think of. What do we need to do this? These are our 4, I would say, outcomes or aspirations or expectations. First, we absolutely have to have a targeted, at scale, at speed adoption of this technology by sector. Right? The government has done a tremendous amount to actually lay the foundations. The sectoral adoption is the only thing that keeps us ahead. Why? Because that 500 million that I showed you as productivity carries one fundamental assumption, that the workers or the managers in these sectors that are displaced because of AI can actually be re-employed up to, let's say, 80% of them in and around new sectors or new segments of these sectors. If that doesn't happen, you'll actually have the double-edged impact of AI. But we think that can absolutely happen. The second, make India the data capital of the world. I know there are several efforts underway for this, and I'll talk about two very specific ones we would add to it. Third, we have the largest adult and student skilling operation that we have to undertake in the world, probably in mankind's history, or womankind's history. And finally, those new sectors I talked about, make sure that we are actually pointing our engine in areas that are future-proof. I'll just touch upon a few of them, though the report has a lot more details. Number one, look at manufacturing. Can we build AI-ready in industrial parks, which means high-performance compute next to clean energy, next to a reliable talent source, next to essentially an operating AI data system? Financial services, we already talked about scaling the sandbox. Pharmaceuticals, look at the genomics database that we need actually from the world. If you think about India today, we're probably the diabetes and cardiac capitals of the world, unfortunately. We're still relying, many of our doctors rely actually on the genomics databases, essentially of white Caucasian males. That's not true for India. We need to build that database. I know that AI Kosh and other efforts that the government has started has already curated about 350 data sets available, but a lot more needs to get done in this regard. AI for automotive. Today, if you look at autonomous, we're probably as good at achieving what is called as level 2 in autonomy. Tesla and most of the Chinese leading companies are at level 4 going to level 5, which is complete autonomy. We need to leapfrog to get there. We cannot be left behind in this race on automotive. Each of these 4 areas have detailed recommendations, risks attached to the recommendations, suggestions in that report. I'll just touch upon one and then I will end. AI is the data capital of the world. We have an opportunity to build the world's largest anonymized, sector-specific data marketplace. No other country has actually done that. There have been attempts by Singapore, China, many others to build either an enterprise or an SME or a citizen PII restricted data set. We own some of the largest data sets in the world. We have to dream to make India the data capital. I will end where I started. AI is a double-edged sword. We have one of the greatest economic opportunities in front of us from productivity and innovation. We're doing several things right. But to actually win in this race, you don't have to compare yourself to what you did yesterday. You have to compare yourself to the best in the world. Because this is a global race. And if we stay ahead of what other countries are doing and other companies in those countries are doing, by focusing on data, by securing adoption, of course, by doing infrastructure, tip design, and everything else that the government is already doing, right? We have a chance to make this opportunity one of the greatest economic lifts for this country. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nashir Kaka, for a very comprehensive and insightful presentation, and of course, for your guiding words. And now we have a very special video message from a distinguished industry leader and expert council member, Shri N. Chandrasekharan, Chairman of Tata Sons. Let's listen in.
Honorable Finance Minister Sri Nirmala ji, Honorable Minister Sri Ashwini Vaishnav ji, Sri Sumant Berry ji, Sri BVR Subramaniam ji, and other esteemed officials from the government, and the team from Frontier Tech Hub, and friends from McKinsey. I'm grateful to you for this opportunity to be able to share a few thoughts on this very important occasion when we are launching our roadmap for AI for Viksit Bharat, unlocking accelerated economic growth. The time for this initiative and the launching of this roadmap cannot be more appropriate. We are at an inflection point where we have an enormous opportunity to embrace AI, to make a huge impact for our country. I feel extremely privileged to have had the opportunity to work as part of the expert council to come up with the insights and recommendations for this roadmap. Fundamentally, AI should achieve three core things. First, we should be able to Second, we should be able to skill and create employment opportunities for all the youth in our nation in the AI world of this century. And the third, we should be forever able to solve for basic issues, be it healthcare, education, or others in every strata of our society, and thereby create huge opportunities and empowerment and reduce the inequality that exists today. In order to do that, the government, the industry, and society at large have to work together in the leveraging of AI. I would like to mention three specific things. First, the industry should work closely with the government in the policy formulation, but take full ownership and demonstrate execution. Second, we need to get AI to work for every sector, be it financial services, be it pharmaceuticals, be it advanced manufacturing, be it agriculture, healthcare, or any of the other sectors. In every sector, we need a fully vertically integrated AI solutions to be able to deliver economic growth and prosperity. And finally, we have to continue to empower the youth in this country with the right skills and also the opportunities for entrepreneurship, and also enable all our small and medium enterprise companies to take full advantage on the power of AI to deliver value, jobs, and economic growth. On behalf of the industry. I would like to thank the government for its vision, for its engagement, and want to commit that the industry will work together with the government and do what it takes to achieve Viksit Bharat. Thank you for this opportunity.
That was indeed a motivating message from Mr. N. Chandrasekharan. We thank him for the same. Ladies and gentlemen, it is said that science is universal, but technology has to be local. And the roadmap being launched today, it focuses exactly on this. And for the launch of the roadmap, AI for Viksit Bharat, I would request the expert council members in attendance today, Shri Ishtiaq Ahmed, Shri Mukesh Bansal, and Shri Ankur Puri, partner McKinsey and Company, to join us on this stage. And I request our distinguished guests on the stage to launch the roadmap AI for Viksit Bharat, unlocking accelerated economic growth. इस रोड मैप के अनुसार विकसित भारत फ्रेमवर्क के तहत 8% की वृद्धि दर हासिल करने के लिए उद्योगों की उत्पादकता और दक्षता बढ़ाने के लिए एआई अपनाना, एआई में R&D जैसे कदम जरूरी हैं। जनरेटिव एआई के जरिए नई खोज, पारंपरिक उद्योगों में नई संभावनाएं तलाशने जैसे कदम उठाने भी आवश्यक बताए गए हैं। Thank you, Honorable Ministers and our respected dignitaries. I request and encourage our audience to go through the roadmap and act on the recommendations with urgency. Thank you all. And we will now move on to the second launch of the day, NITI Frontier Tech Repository. May I now request Honorable Ministers to digitally launch the NITI Frontier Tech Repository using the remote. This is a big moment indeed. Thank you, Honorable Ministers. Well, that was a brief glimpse into NITI Frontier Tech Repository. और यहाँ उपस्थित सभी लोगों से भी मैं आग्रह करूंगी कि इस रेपोजिटरी को अवश्य देखें। आप इसे एक लाइव रेफरेंस के तौर पर भी यूज कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि ये दिखाता है कि कैसे तकनीक के माध्यम से आप जमीनी समस्याओं का समाधान पा सकते हैं। और अगर आपके जहन में ये सवाल है कि रेपोजिटरी तो है, ठीक है, लेकिन इसका प्रयोग मैं कैसे करूं? Then to understand it better, we are going to present before you a short demo. May I please request Mr. Dhimant Parekh, CEO, Better India, to kindly take us through the demo of NITI Frontier Tech Repository.
Thank you. Honorable Ministers, Dr. Biwaji, Devjani ji, fellow dignitaries, and the audience, welcome to the Frontier Tech Repository. This repository is a growing, evolving platform that brings together high impact, proven examples of frontier technologies being used to solve India's toughest challenges. Each story in this repository is a deep dive into the problem that it addresses, the solution and the technology that it leverages, the stakeholders involved, and more importantly, the stellar impact that it creates. We'll just go back. Okay, so there are many ways to navigate through this repository. We have launched this repository to begin with 200 stories across 4 categories. These categories are agriculture, education, healthcare, and space, defense, and security. So any user, for instance, if you want to go through, hey, what's happening in the frontier technology space, in the education vertical, you could actually click on the education category and and land here and see all the frontier technology innovations like AI, robotics, which are being used in the education space. Not only that, you can now deep dive into further sub-verticals. If you're interested to know what's happening in rural education or in personalized learning, you could actually click through that and land on such specific use cases and innovations that we've written about. The bigger part that I was talking about, which is impact, all the stories that are uploaded onto this platform are summarized from an impact perspective in these impact metric cards. So as of the stories that we have already, we have this impact metric, which is 23,000 plus students have had improved learning outcomes, how many schools have had enhanced classroom learning. And as more stories will keep getting added to this platform, these metrics will keep changing. And in fact, even more newer metrics would get added to this. Now, let me give you a specific case study and how it looks on the repository. We have this wonderful initiative by Dr. Soumya Jha called Padhai. Dr. Soumya Jha, former DM at Tonk, she and her team has launched this lovely initiative called Padhai with AI. The idea was to address the poor math outcomes in examinations. And so this AI-based personalized learning was built and deployed, and it's already having such massive impact. So you can actually read about the entire solution, how this team has implemented it. You can also get a summary of the impact. As you can see, close to 100% increase in the class 10 math pass rate, right? And so you can deep dive now further and say, okay, how could I use this solution to solve similar issues on problems in my communities? So while we've focused on how you could go through these 4 sectors and come to these case studies, we've also got a separate section which is navigating through case studies to every state, because there's so many innovations that are happening across states, and that is where we present you the NITI States Spotlight, where you will be able to actually see the innovations happening in every state of the country. So, for example, in Himachal Pradesh, there's drone delivery systems. Tamil Nadu has this digital vaccines innovation. There's something from Gujarat. And we strongly recommend state administrations to submit their impact stories on that email address that we've given there, so that we can make this platform richer for everyone else to use. So, for instance, I was talking about one such sample story is from Himachal Pradesh. This is a drone delivery system. You would have seen that demo at the outside. The drone delivery system, which has been built by Tech Eagle, they are using drones. It's such an amazing initiative. They're using drones to deliver healthcare medicines in really hard to reach areas of Himachal. And while this is a great innovation and impact that they've created, what we wanted to address as part of the repository is that if you were to adapt this for solving for some of your own use cases, how could you go about it? And this is where we've introduced this section called Build Your Own, which actually has predefined questions from samples like, how can I implement this? What are the resources do I need? Is it accessible? What are the policy support that's involved? So you could actually click on any of these and get customized solutions for your questions after having read a case study. Now, the scenario that I showed to you just now is when you've read a case and you've had questions about how I can adapt it. However, many a times, we just want to know, hey, I'm focusing on this particular sector, and I want to see what are the technology solutions that I can use. And this is where we have built in the FTH assistant, which goes through all the case studies in the repository and generates actionable knowledge for your questions. So, for instance, if you have a very generic question like, hey, how could I use, let's say, drone technology in agriculture? Now, this is a very generic question. So it would go through our entire repository and give you specific solutions that people have implemented. And you will be able to take each of these and dig deeper. So this is another very interesting feature we've built on the repository, where you could come in and ask about any sector, any technology, and get actionable insights. So to conclude, I would really kind of like to say that this repository is indeed your gateway to India's innovations. We've covered so many bright sparks as stories, and I would urge all the stakeholders here, the impact creators, state administrations, to scale these sparks. And the more we scale these ideas and make them pan-India, we will truly be on our path to becoming Viksit Bharat. And before I conclude, I would just want all the impact creators who are here to just stand up. Let's give them a round of applause for the amazing initiatives that they have taken. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Parekh, for a very well-explained demo. And of course, the stories look so interesting and motivating. And the features of the repository, I think, will be useful for so many people to use it in a constructive way. Well, ladies and gentlemen, may I now request Shri S. Krishnan, Secretary, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, to share his remarks with us. Please welcome Secretary Meti.
Honorable Minister for Finance, Honorable Minister for Railways, Information Broadcasting, Electronics and Information Technology, the Vice Chairman of the NITI Aayog, CEO NITI Aayog, Sri Subramaniam, Debjani Ghosh, the Distinguished Fellow NITI Aayog, Mr. Naushir Kaka, and Mr. Deemant Parekh, ladies and gentlemen. My job this morning here is, you will see a tagline right at the top which says the road to India AI Impact Summit 2026. And we are looking at this event to build momentum towards the AI Impact Summit, which India is to host as the chair in February of 2026, chaired by the Honorable Prime Minister, and with the theme of AI for all and AI for good. The idea fundamentally is, this is the AI summit, which follows on the first AI summit held in Bletchley Park in Britain, which was for AI for safety. The safety was the primary emphasis there, followed by the one in Seoul, and most recently in February earlier this year, the one in Paris, which is focused on AI for innovation. And finally, we want to actually host this summit focusing on the kind of impact that AI has made. And what we've seen in the demonstrations today and through all of the Frontier Technology Hub's repository, you can see the kind of impact which is being generated. And we are in the process of leading up to this particular summit, which in a number of ways should be landmark in the history of AI and the way that it gets adopted for what is happening internationally and across the world. And as was pointed out in the explanation of the AI for Viksit Bharat roadmap, the impact that AI can have, not just on India's economy, but the global economy, is so profound and so significant that we need to sort of take the leadership position in this area, and that is what the summit is all about. And this is very effective preparatory activity in that direction. The summit itself has one mantra, which is impact, and three major themes around people, planet, and progress, and 7 working groups, which would work around what we are calling the 7 chakras, that is AI for economic growth and social good, democratizing AI resources, inclusion for social empowerment, the way that AI can act in that space, safe and trusted AI, which is such a concern for many of us even now, the way that we build human capital for AI, resilience, innovation, and efficiency, the importance of using resources effectively and at the same time in a resilient way, and of course, in the space of science. These are all the 7 major themes around which we would have working groups and meetings. And the intent is to actually also have 5 major regional events across the country and about 200 pre-summit events. And this today is one of those 200 pre-summit events that we are hosting here. We expect that, there would be a huge AI expo with participation of a large number of countries and all states. And our events would be across 50 cities across the country to showcase AI impact on a scale significantly enhanced from what we have seen today in terms of these hold the germ, these hold the actual starting point of what we would like to showcase as the impact of AI and the way that AI can make a difference across 100 pavilions and about 400 startup pods. That would be the AI Expo showcase that we would like to do. And then we would also have global challenges which address a range of issues, a youth challenge, an AI by her, a challenge intended for women, and of course, a global impact challenge, which is open to everybody. These are hackathons which would be sort of organized around this, and of course, a research symposium and also a global pitch fest. I'm extremely happy that many people in this audience are already involved with a lot of this preliminary activity that we've already commenced on this, and we would be able to work together in the days to come to ensure that the deliverables and the actual impact that we can deliver through the AI Impact Summit to be held in February meets the kind of aspirations that we have. And the one thing that we all note about AI is how rapidly it changes. It changes from week to week. And I'm very happy to note that in the presentation which is made on the AI for Viksit Bharat roadmap, one of the things that they have told us is the AI coach needs to expand from the present 350 odd databases. Now, actually, the presentation said 350, but now we're already at 1,000 plus and growing every day. So that is the pace at which things are changing, and that is the pace at which we move forward. And again, in terms of what we need to do with the ANRF and how we can actually work together, because one of the key areas identified is science and education. The question of convergence and the question of various ministries and various initiatives of our government coming together. AI Mission is working closely with ANRF to establish initiatives in science and education so that things can go forward. So these are multiple ways in which various bits and pieces of this entire exercise is coming together. There is also an emphasis on defense. We have members of the armed forces present here today. The AI mission was proud to be associated with very, very rapidly establishing a compute capacity for use during Operation Sindoor. And in addition, we're working with some of the AI models that are being set up to make it available for defense purposes as well. So there's been a range of applications across this entire space which we've been working on. And this hectic space needs to be worked with and kept up over this momentum needs to be preserved over the coming months to make sure that the AI Impact Summit in February 2026 is truly a landmark event, not just in the history of this country, but in the history of the world and the history of the century. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Secretary Sir, for your address and also for highlighting the important aspects of AI Impact Summit 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, NITI stands for National Institution for Transforming India. और ये मात्र नाम नहीं है, बल्कि ये इस संस्था के कंधों पर रखे उत्तरदायित्वों के साथ साथ इसके दूरगामी लक्ष्यों को भी परिभाषित करता है, जो न्यू एज टेक्नोलॉजीज के संदर्भ में और अधिक प्रासंगिक भी लगते हैं. It is my privilege now to invite Shri B.V.R. Subramaniam, CEO NITI Aayog, to kindly deliver the address.
Respected Finance Minister, respected Mighty Minister, distinguished members of on the dais and in the audience. Before I begin, let me just mention in a minute what is the genesis of the Frontier Tech Hub. It starts with the basic presumption that technology is a very big disruptor. It has been a disruptor in the past from the time of the Industrial Revolution and then the IT revolution, etc. And it is going to be a disruptor in future, and we can see that happening in front of us. And if we have to capitalize on this technology, we need to be ahead of the game. I think that's the genesis of the Frontier Tech Hub. And the goal is very simple. We should make India a leader in frontier technologies. It meets the Prime Minister's ambition of making India Viksit Bharat, but Viksit Bharat, that is India being a developed country, is almost synonymous with India being a frontier tech leader. If you're not a frontier tech leader, you cannot become Viksit Bharat. So we thought that we should give a push to this whole thing. And it has a very simple goal. A, spot technology trends very early on. Very often we tend to be reactive. Two, create awareness about that around the system, both within government, outside government. And third, exploit those technology trends very early on. Build capacities, bring capabilities, move industry, move the government in that particular direction so that we are actually ahead of the curve. And therefore, you make India future ready as a consequence. So I think that's the simple genesis of Frontier Technology Hub. As Debjani said, there are about 20 or plus work streams which are working on various aspects of technology. And what you're seeing today is the first two work streams delivering their outcomes. And it's very, very simple. The first one, which is where Naushad presented about the AI for accelerated economic development. If India is to become Viksit Bharat, that we have to move from where we are now to a $7 or a $10 trillion economy and then to a $30 trillion economy, you need to grow at about 8%, which means you need to bump up your growth rate. And if you need to bump up growth rate, it has to come from efficiency and productivity gains. And AI is something which is visible and apparent to us, which we can utilize effectively to increase our growth rate. And I think that's what the message is. AI is a possibility. And what this report gives is a very practical, implementable roadmap on how do you exploit AI in the two areas which he has talked of, which is productivity in existing sectors and how do you use it for more innovation so that you can be a leader in those particular sectors. He's given the example of pharma. So what we have in this report is sectoral playbooks. The next step is simple. Let this be, report be socialized. This thinking should penetrate individual sectors, and then they should start adopting and adapting themselves to working along, both within government and outside government. I think that's the simple thing, and that's the purpose of this. And the second one, which was the Frontier Tech repository, which was opened. I mean, this is actually technology for impact at the grassroots. Our partners with whom we work to actually do this, which is Better India in Bangalore. And I thank the entire team from Better India for the work they've done in working with us in collating this. 200 real life examples have been actually put at one place. These are examples where frontier tech has been used to make a difference. Some are from within government, some are from outside government. Government alone cannot generate development. It has to be government, industry, and people. And I think that's the purpose. And 200 cases are very simple. The examples have been given, how it can be used by others to incorporate those same uses in their own lives or in their own spaces, other districts, other blocks, other villages, other states. I think the entire emphasis has been, how can you use it in real time? I'm quite sure the way NITI works with states, with districts, etc., these 200 cases will become 2,000, they'll become 2 lakhs and 2 million. But that's the size of our country, and I think we deserve that many use cases. On this day, before I conclude, I'll only say, I'll just announce 2 initiatives. This is from NITI's side. This is more for states and districts. Firstly, we are running an aspirational district and block program. This program touches 331 districts in India. That's almost 50% of the country, actually. 700 districts are there. Roughly in half the districts are touched. We have about 40 DMs in this room who are from those districts. We are launching a Frontier Tech Challenge. What we are basically going to do is Frontier 50 Challenge, 50 individual locations, districts or blocks. If you want to use a frontier technology to make a difference in healthcare, education, nutrition, agriculture, and so on, we will actually fund that innovation for you from NITI. And that funds we have, the finance minister, everybody else has been kind. We will fund that. This is an open invitation to all the districts. And as we speak, I was telling the finance minister, we have got all the districts of India live. Connected to us, and this is being webcast, and they're all online right now. So it is for all of them. Please apply and participate in this. The best 50 will be funded by NITI. In a year's time, you'll see that as an impact. The second, this is for states. We're calling it the NITI Frontier Tech Impact Awards. We want states to adopt frontier technologies in governance, but governance with impact. So we would actually like them to take the lead and adopt or adapt frontier technologies. And the end of 1 year, we will give the 3 best states which have actually shown use of technology in governance a 3 crore award for actually scaling it up. The award will be used for actually taking that, whatever thing they have done, and scale it up across the entire state. So 3 states will be picked up. I'm sorry, we'll give 5 crores. We have a state support mission through which we can actually fund that. We'll be doing it. And I hope to see in the next 2 months, states coming forward, asking for ways of actually using technology to improve governance in their states. With this, I thank the ministers for taking time off and blessing the start of this frontier tech journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Subramaniam, for your address and also for announcing the important Frontier 50 initiative and Impact Awards too. देवियों सज्जनों, वसुधैव कुटुंबकम की विचारधारा को आत्मसात कर आगे बढ़ रहे भारत का तकनीक को लेकर भी लक्ष्य स्पष्ट है। इंडियन सॉल्यूशंस फॉर ग्लोबल एप्लीकेशंस। माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी की सोच कि तकनीक के लाभ समाज के हर वर्ग तक पहुंचे, इसे प्राण से साकार करने में प्रयासरत है माननीय केंद्रीय मंत्री श्री अश्विनी वैष्णव जी। And now I have the distinct honor of inviting Shri Ashwini Vaishnav, Honorable Minister of Electronics and IT, Information and Broadcasting and Railways, to kindly share his perspective with the audience. Please welcome Honorable Minister.
सबसे पहले तो इम्पैक्ट समिट के रनअप में जो इतनी अच्छी टेक्नोलॉजीज यहाँ पे दिखाई, और विशेषकर टोंक के डीएम का मैं स्पेशल मेंशन करना चाहूँगा, जो एक्चुअल इम्पैक्ट आप लोगों ने किया है, आप सबके लिए पहले जोरदार एक बार तालियां। ऑनरेबल फाइनेंस मिनिस्टर श्रीमती निर्मला सीतारमन जी, श्री सुमन बेरी, वाइस चेयरपर्सन नीति आयोग, श्री BVR सुब्रमण्यम जी, CEO नीति आयोग, सेक्रेटरी कृष्णन, Ms. Ghosh, Mr. Parekh, Mr. Kaka, all the friends and young officers collected from various parts of the country. I welcome you all as a run-up to the February AI Impact Summit. I welcome you all to this very good event where we are able to showcase so many things together. Friends, we are passing through very interesting times. When the world is going through so much of turbulence, India is a very stable, growing at a consistent rate. And today, the generations we have in front of us are full of confidence. If you ask me what is one change, if you ask me what is the biggest change that our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has done, the biggest change is he has instilled so much confidence in our youngsters, in our youth, in our entire country, that today we are able to dream of a Viksit Bharat. This is very different from the 40, 50 years since independence in the beginning, where the country was passing through very different times. Today, the growth is inclusive, the growth is robust, and it's driven by technology. Technology is the fundamental base of this growth today. And no country can think of being a Viksit or a developed country until and unless it has good mastery or good control or good confidence about a few technologies. And these technologies are telecom technology, semiconductors, electric vehicles, biotech, some of the most complex engines, quantum, rare earth, and a few more. These are technologies which we will have to master, we'll have to adopt, we'll have to develop talent pipeline, and we will have to make sure that we remain in the frontier. And over a period of last few decades, the biggest change which has happened and the biggest factor which has joined this constellation of technologies is AI. Because AI is now affecting practically everything that we do. Like internet, which changed everything that we did, AI is also going to fundamentally change the way we work, the way we live, the way we consume, the way we teach our children, the way we do healthcare, practically everything is going to be impacted. That's why it's very important to make sure that we are front runners in AI technologies or in the use of AI, development of AI. The core of this path will be R&D on one hand and getting a very, very strong and deep talent pipeline on the second hand. And that's one of the major focus that we have taken in practically everything that we do in technology. I'll give a couple of examples. Let's take the example of semiconductors. When we started the mission in 22, our Prime Minister gave us a very clear roadmap that semiconductor mission has to be for a minimum 20 years roadmap. We have to develop the ecosystem and we have to make sure that the talent pipeline is a primary focus for our work. That's why today we have 278 institutions, universities and colleges where the students are today using the latest semiconductor design tools. They are designing chips and 20 of those chips got manufactured recently at SCL Mohali. Another batch of 15 is at this point of time undergoing manufacture, taping out at SCL Mohali. Now, where in the world will you find university students, college students designing complete chips which get manufactured also and tested and used in the systems that they want to use in? This is the level of talent development that we are taking up, friends. And this is where our Prime Minister's clear guidance to us, clear focus on developing a very important, very deep, very wide, very diverse talent pool came into play. I'll give another example, AI. The AI mission, our Prime Minister is known for democratizing technology, right? Whether it is the UPI, whether it is the way the DPI, the digital public infrastructure, is used everywhere in the country and now known across the world. In the AI mission also, the first task that we took was to make GPU compute facility, common compute facility, available to a very large section. When the mission was approved, the target we took was of 10,000 GPUs. And today we have 38,000 GPUs available for everybody. And I'll request that part of the NITI Aayog commitment to the aspirational districts and to all districts, let this GPU common compute facility be also available to the districts which want to develop new solutions, and the AI mission will be able to give it to you. Against target of 10,000, we have done 38,000. Secretary Krishnan was just noting the latest update of the data sets. It's actually 2,000 plus data sets available, not 350 or not 1,000, but actually 2,000 plus data sets, which are now available on the AI Kosh. That's for you to use. That's for you to train your models. That's for you to get the right inference for the problems that you work on. We have taken a very different approach in AI safety, whereas the world, many parts of the world, look at AI safety more as a legal challenge. They want to create a law, pass a law, and then believe that AI safety will come. We have taken a very different approach. We have taken a techno-legal approach, and our AI Safety Institute is a virtual institute, which basically is a network of institutes, and each of these nodes in the network have taken one problem to solve for. For example, IIT Jodhpur is solving for detecting deepfakes, and the technology that they have developed, the algorithms that they have developed, are today able to detect deepfakes with very high accuracy. There are many more challenges that the institutes have taken, and I'll request the young officers who are collected here and who are connected online to share the problems, safety related problems that you would like the AI mission to work on, so that we can give that as a challenge to the AI Safety Institute and new technologies can be developed to make sure that AI is safe. Friends, in our entire approach, our bias in technology is more towards innovation. When there is a trade-off between regulation and innovation, we tend to tilt more towards innovation. That's very different from, let's say, Europe and many other parts of the world, where the tilt is more towards regulation, tilt is more towards passing a law, tilt is more towards creating a regulatory body. We believe that technology is something which will innovate, where people will use, and we will evolve into getting the right regulatory structure rather than prescribing it through a law. And that approach has helped us so far. I hope that approach will keep helping us, and especially the people living in far-flung areas of our country, which need the new technological solutions for coming up, for getting to the aspirations that the people have. Thank you very much, NITI Aayog, for organizing this. Thank you for making it part of the AI Impact Summit. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Honorable Minister, for the valuable insights shared. देवियर सज्जनों, तकनीक वो ताकत है जो लोगों की जिंदगियां बदलती है, जो जीवन को सरल बनाती है, सहज बनाती है और हर नागरिक तक समान अवसर भी पहुंचाती है. As India marches towards the vision of Viksit Bharat at 2047, it is the economic foresight that will empower technological progress to reach every citizen. It is now my great honor to invite Srimati Nirmala Sitharaman, Honorable Finance Minister of India, to kindly address this distinguished gathering.
CEO AVR Subramaniam ji, Debjani Ghosh and McKinsey Zone Khaka, am I right? And Pathak ji, and all the experts who have come here, DMs from over 300 districts, I'm told, are live in connection with us, and also 30 odd DMs who are present here for having done extraordinary work in the ground, and also all AI enthusiasts. I'm really happy to be here today. And a lot has been said. I'm not getting into the benefits or virtues of AI or what AI can do. You had a splendid presentation by the group. I'm just going to highlight some of the features in governance, which in the last few years, thanks to so many stakeholders who have been in touch with us, we have been able to bring into the policy making and also in the budget making. And continuing with that, we hope to also keep in track and keep in step with the AI Impact Summit, which is being scheduled for 2026 February. So I'm more here to tell you all as to what kind of a work, whether it was very well planned or not, actually making a lot of attempts to get the inputs from stakeholders and carrying it forward and so on. But what's more important is when I see the outcome and when I see different groups, expert groups talking about various aspects, I can see a million flowers bloom, a million flowers of innovation, a million flowers of AI related activities bloom all over the country. And therefore, it becomes very appropriate and timely that the NITI Aayog has chosen to release that work that they're doing in creating a repository for all the frontier tech within the NITI Aayog. And in that, I was just checking up with the CEO NITI Aayog about it, who said because we have more than about 300 odd districts, which put together in the sense of aspirational districts and those with aspirational blocks, all together constituting about 300 odd districts, who are in a live connect with the NITI Aayog to highlight what kind of work or adaptation using AI is happening in the district, which is very well. But what it does leave out is the rest 400. And for me, the keenness with which I want every district to be in this repository, real time, data given, data give out kind of a platform is what is it that we need to have? Or what is it that is needed to be done to get the rest 400 districts also to come on board and say we are not doing anything at all with AI, or to say yes, we've been doing this for last 3 years, or some wanting to use some of the things that you've put in your repository for from where people can take up and adapt and benefit. It requires, of course, DMs of the Tonk former district collector who attempted to do something and naturally, because she had put her heart and soul together in getting AI to help with education, she saw some results. So have others who have done not so much government official, but private entrepreneurs and startups, which have ensured that far-flung areas in Himachal get medicines delivered to those really far-flung villages. And now that they are spreading it to many other northeastern states like Meghalaya, there are always ways in which quickly such technology innovations can be adapted by other districts as well. So I would want NITI Aayog to see how best the rest of the 400 who are not aspirational districts or blocks, and for whatever reason have remained out of your, all the 760 or 70 districts will have to be in the repository, either to benefit from or to put in their success stories into it. So I would think that is one of the biggest thing. To start with, I already feel the energy in this room where people are revving to do more, wanting to have more assistance. I do not want to crow about what in the last few budgets we've done, but Debjani is probably a first-hand witness who can probably stand up to support me. In the last 4 budgets or 5 budgets, if I remember correct, every time, other than the pre-budget consultation, which happens by routine with industry, with trading bodies, with science and technology people, with the health sector, with agriculture sector, and so on. There was one which was never defined or described, but off the schedule. And that was that one meeting which Debjani and her NASCOM team would come. And we would ask her to tell us, it's all right, you came in as a group to talk, but tell us that one specific big gap which you find in government, either in the name of funding or in the name of policy support. And she would patiently sit with all of us to tell us. And this I never did alone. I had all my secretaries from the finance ministry to listen to her group. And that is how I would say, whether we did the best thing or not, we brought in a quantum. I distinctly remember her coming and speaking to us. Also talking about the GPUs, about which you were saying so many things today. First thing she came to highlight was we're not doing adequately on GPU. And she was never polite. She would say, you're not doing it. And it used to be one of those hot, really hot interactions where we would go back to say, oh my God, we've not done so much, we've lost a decade. And she would drive home the point very effectively on that. So as a result, the budget had an announcement on quantum mission, the AI centers for education, for agriculture, for health, and urban spaces, urban cities. Now, when you showed the presentation, I see you have retained agriculture, you've retained health, you've retained education, but you're talking about now space and space technology. Fine, what has happened to my urban spaces? Where is it? Have you dropped it out? It was mentioned on the recommendation of the team which met me. So we need better cities to live, and therefore I'm very insistent that AI should help us give solutions for better city urban areas which exist and for newer urban centers that we may plan. I think we need to have a greater understanding that AI probably is capable of giving us in situ solutions without having to remove people from where they are, but keep them there, but give them the solutions which has been waiting for decades. So in that way, where I listed out on quantum, I listed out on uh, AI centers of excellence for these specific areas. I also will have to say the first ever big ticket announcement in the budget was after a thrashing session again with Debjani on semicons. She said, what are you all up to? You're doing only these. Even today, a week ago or 10 days ago, she called me to say, what you're doing in AI is insufficient. You're just looking at a chat GPT type of user end problem. But what are those cases where we need to have solutions given? So there's been a live, continuous, interactive session with the NASCOM and also others who are engaged in AI related activities. So the constellation, as an expression used by Ashwini, technology constellation, we are, I think, clear that we do not want to be behind in any one of them. The constellation and the stars which make up the constellation, we are not losing out on any of them. We are not behind, but we cannot be just at par. We need to lead is the Impact Summit's goal, I would say. In each one of the stars which make up for the constellation, we need to have leadership role. And that's where the effort of the ministry is going. And I'm quite happy for what they're doing. And I can assure you, working together with the Reserve Bank of India, the case which was mentioned in your presentation, Kaku, is the Reserve Bank of India is certainly creating sandbox for various user testing application and so on. Sandboxes were used also when we were talking about digital currencies, retail and wholesale retail digital currencies, which the Reserve Bank wanted to try, and it worked well for them to have the sandbox done. So sandbox creation for financial sector AI applications, for financial and insurance sector AI application, yes, the RBI will create. But I'm seeing wherever I go, people and delegations meeting with me to showcase how much they have advanced in this. The sandboxes may be of use for us to see where the regulatory mechanisms can come in with a soft touch approach and not to clamp down on it, so that we are happy that we are regulating, but in the process, unfortunately, we are probably killing the technology itself. We do not want regulation that literally wipe off the regulation, wipe off the technology itself. We want regulations because we want a responsible application. We want what was earlier discussed in the UK meet, the ethical application of AI and so on. But that bridge is probably now crossed because we know how best to go on the ethical regulations and so on. But that has to be kept up because AI is not static, as we heard now on the data sets and so on. AI is a rapidly progressing, real-time, dynamic thing. And therefore, all of us will have to be conscious that we don't sit back on the ethic, because repeatedly I heard the word used several times by our McKinsey friend, that AI can also have its challenges, and that can affect our so-called demographic dividend that we're talking about. And I see the challenge not just in jobs, but also in the way in which these can be used for the not so much of a betterment of the society. So we need to be clear that regulation has to be running this race equally as much as the technology is running it. If the technology is on a sprint, regulation should also be on a sprint. You cannot be thinking that we've done something about regulation and therefore that's over and done with. So the other interesting aspect which I heard was about the crashing of time, so that we should not lose out on the benefit of the demographic dividend, which all of us are talking about. So we need to crash time so that we have all the benefits reaching out to our people. Yes, it is important, because if 80% of people who are going to be dislocated because of, if I heard you right, if 80% of people are going to be dislocated, and if they are going to dislocate, or if they are dislocated, unless we have AI-driven upskilling of these 80%. You're not just going to have them come back to do at some level some contribution to the sector. So I would think it's not a gloomy picture of, oh, so many people are going to get thrown out of the job. I would think those are the set which is ready for you to think in terms of AI-driven upskilling programs, which I would want more inputs to come to the government to see how best we can, get into that activity. Because another one of the things which we mentioned in the budget, which I mentioned 3 earlier, thanks to Devjani coming and speaking to us, there was one other which essentially all of us within the government thought about, and we made a big announcement backed up with money. But I'm unfortunately going to have to say that not very many states have used it. And what is that? Old-fashioned, decades-old institution called the ITIs exist in every district of the country. They are Institute for Technology Training. They are for school dropouts or 10th pass or a 12th pass student to come in and have some exposure to technology. When I'm talking about 20, 30, 40 years ago, they are more talking about welding, lathe machine, or power tools to be used, and so on. Never in the age of high technology, and certainly not in the age of AI. So what we did in the budget was to say, look, we will fund every one of these ITIs, which have to be upgraded in a hub and spoke model. Suppose a state has about 100 districts or 30 districts, let's say. Highest is about 80, which is UP. But if there are 30 districts, the state can plan for itself that it will have 10 centers, which are the main centers, and attached to them in a hub and spoke model will be the rest of it. However, for upgrading them, we said we will fund in order that they find enough training materials and also equipments, whether it is a AI-driven equipment or AI adaptable equipment, which you'll need for training young minds in the districts. So we announced that we will fund the updating of ITIs, which will have now to be AI centers of learning, so that school dropouts or 12th pass or even a graduate who comes out of an institution can go to his district ITI and have a training which will really ready him for a market which wants AI skills, because industry is rapidly changing their production models. And if their models are going to be now AI driven, and which is very good for productivity benefits that we derive, and if you're talking about accelerated growth in our economy, you need productivity gains to be part of what every industry does. And for that, AI adoption by industry is absolutely critical. Many of them are doing it, but there is a mismatch. They are doing the AI adoption, but the market is not giving them AI-ready human resources. As a result, industry today says, oh, all right, you're talking about joblessness, but get us people who are AI-ready. I'm adapting I'm shifting my process of production towards this AI-driven era. And that's good for productivity. But where are these people? So when government announced this ITI upgradation, it was this which was in our mind. And therefore we came up with this saying, get your equipments, training equipments that you need. And also we went to the extent of saying, get your AI trained trainers. If you don't get them, please get them from wherever. We'll be flexible about how to fund them, how to pay them. And Minister Ashwini was with me when we had this India-Singapore Ministerial Roundtable, ISMR, much before the Prime Minister of Singapore was visiting India. In that meeting, held both in Singapore and in India, we had extensively talked about quality training and certification. That's also a problem. Unless we have our training centers adequately equipped with both training required equipments and trainers who are going to be able to do that job, certifying is not going to be really up to the mark. And the person who gets trained the girl or the boy getting trained in those centers, coming out of them, are going to come out with a certificate which may not find currency among those who want to employ them. So we wanted to have a certification also which has that kind of a hallmark with which they'll be readily acceptable as in the job market. So these were thoughts which I wanted to share with you. There are also questions about how NITI Aayog, and I'm very happy to say this because in 2014, when the old Planning Commission was revamped and NITI Aayog was brought in more for doing R&D or research for the sake of India's development aspirations, NITI Aayog had taken up very many different roles in preparing developmental disparity related reports, which have come of use for us when we are planning for the next set of reforms or the next set of funding. Today, but I must say with a great sense of appreciation, under both the Vice Chairman, Dr. Suman Berry, and the CEO, BVR Subramaniam, being guided, all of us being guided by the Honorable Prime Minister, AI and AI-related matters have really caught on a lot that the NITI Aayog is actually moving very strongly forward. And I'm with a great sense of appreciation, I want to say this, you need an organization which will bring in all those stakeholders together and be able to bridge the policy initiatives which are required to be done, and therefore be that honeycomb which has all these people coming in and for the government to respond to it. I'm appreciative of the NITI Aayog's attempt to become that repository, not just on gathering data and keeping it, but also becoming the catalyst in getting all these people together and driving policy which can help this very critical area. So I heard the word double-edged sword. I referred to it a bit earlier. I think India is a country which can understand the implication of a good that comes in our way, although a good is never unmitigated. A good is never without riders. A good is never on its own good. It is for us all to use it in such a way that it is for the common good. I don't want to dilute the importance of science and technology by bringing the Puranic kind of a story. I'm not telling a story, but every Asura who had that extraordinary power to do something had to be kept in hold and deliver the good thing that can benefit all humanity. But once that is left without much of a control, that's when it comes to hit at people who have created it. We all know the stories of how various asuras have not kept up the promise, which was a boon given with a little rider. You are given this boon so long as you don't do certain things. But the moment he starts doing a certain thing, which is under the don't do category, it gets out of the way, out of control as well. But I think the AI is something which we, because it is in our DNA, should be known, should know also how to keep it well under our reins and serve for the common good. And I'm sure the NITI Aayog will play its role, and all of us are here to work together with you. It was quite a impressive small display, not very many, but very impressive display of innovations already happening in the ground with AI and benefiting the common people. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity.
I sincerely thank Honorable Finance Minister for her guiding words and also highlighting all those areas that we need to focus on if we want to make AI for all a possibility, and for urging us towards progress with conviction with AI. And I would like to thank all our distinguished guests on the days for sparing time and being here with us. On behalf of NITI Aayog, I also thank all our esteemed invitees who've joined us on this beautiful and very, very important occasion of important launches which were done today. Thank you all. Thank you so much. I thank Honorable Ministers for being with us this evening. Let's have a big round of applause for all those who are working to make AI a reality in India. A big round of applause here, please. Very many important points which were highlighted today by honorable ministers, and we do hope that all of you who are here, who are working in the field of artificial intelligence, are ready to move on with double the force. And also, as we have the goals in front of us, that is the Impact Summit 2026, a lot of goals, a lot of work to be done on the ground, ladies and gentlemen. I do wish best of luck to each one of you. Keep up your efforts to make India a power, a hub in the field of artificial intelligence. I request you all to please stay put till our distinguished guests have departed from the hall. काम बहुत है, लक्ष्य बहुत है और उम्मीद करते हैं कि आज माननीय मंत्रीगण के द्वारा दिया गया मंत्र और दिशा हम सबको आगे बढ़ने के लिए प्रेरित करेगी। आप सबको कहना चाहेंगे कि do join us for tea. It's been arranged in the second floor. चाय का इंतजाम किया गया है आप सबके लिए second floor पर. So please do join us for high tea.